Hey everyone, I'm giving this a go, attempting my first recording of a poker session. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this set up right in the beginning, so I played a decent number of hands already. You can see I've got 3x starting stack roughly. Um, yeah, I got some good hands and stacked people, and they didn't believe me, so that's what happened for the first beginning of this session. So, yeah, I know, I'm just gonna give this a try. Not super familiar with how this should go. So my feeling was I was going to just talk some strategy. Um, Talk about how I think about different situations and hopefully give you guys a sense of how I apply my strategy, a mix of exploitative and game theory optimal strategy to try to beat these 10-25 cent 6-max games. So a little bit about the games. The games are pretty good these days. I mean, obviously super low stakes, but I think compared to most live games, this 10 cent, 25 cent is well ahead of the field. You're going to see a decent number of 3 betting, almost no limping. 4 betting and 5 betting is common. The hand I got a stacks in on, I was in the small blind with kings. Open got I was in the button with kings. Open got 3 bet. 4 bet got 5 bet jammed on by ace 9 suited. So just to give you a sense of what it, how aggressive people are playing. So yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. If hopefully there's some interesting hands and we can talk through them. Um, yeah, it's a little note on like the way I play. I guess I like to. I guess we can talk about who is at the table and look at some of their stats, which is always a good thing to do. So far, everyone's numbers look reasonable. Um, I would say that 26 VPIP and a 18 PFR is tight, not super tight. Combined 10% 3 bet at 6 max is actually pretty reasonable. I'm sure I'm higher. Yeah, 33. I like to 3 bet. Um, so I don't think there's anything super interesting to be gleaned. I made a note on this player that he might have been 3 betting me a bunch because I was fairly active. Let's see, is this guy tight? So you're gonna ask why I'm 3 betting these hands. I think King 4 suited is a good hand in general to 3 bet. You can't call really profitably, but the 3 betting is good given that you're suited. You block some of his strong pre-flop opening hands like King Jack, King Queen, Ace King, Pocket Kings. And so it's good to mix those hands into 3 bet range. Now, obviously, they play worse than like 10-9 suited, Jack 10 suited, things like that. I'm just going to go ahead and 3 bet this guy again. I know like a lot of people don't do this because you just saw us 3 bet him and you might think that we're just going after him, but ace 3 suited is just too good of a hand to bluff here. With the blocker and the nut draw, I think the one thing reason why you might not do this, despite the fact we just 3 bet him, is that we are 3 betting an undergun opener, and if he's playing properly, his range should be fairly tight. We can give him like all of the premium hands plus some of the premium non-made hand opens. Um, which actually, to be honest, we're not doing that bad against, given that we have the ace high and like against like kings and queens and like even like king. I mean, obviously ahead of king queen, but again, given a lot of spots, we have the ace over card. Okay, I'm gonna check back here. I think I check back here with like tens, nines, and some of my weak pocket pairs, and I don't think there's any reason to get necessarily to bet this hand, given it's our weakest ace, one of the weakest aces we can have. I want to preserve our equity. It's a pretty good card. If he had King Queen, he now has a pair. If he has Ace Queen, he was already ahead. Pocket Queens obviously got there as well. There are not a lot of value hands out there that he could have. So this is almost certainly always a bluff. For us, we're like pretty much at the top of our range, our check back range. So we're gonna obviously call here once. We're looking for bricks like sixes and fours, but okay with low cards as well. Honestly, I'm like pretty comfortable with like most turns here, or most rivers. Stein's pretty good. Doesn't complete any of the draws. He might continue bluffing if he just has like any I actually don't imagine he'll bluff all that much because nothing really got there. Okay, so he checks. What to do here? So I don't think that he is gonna have many better aces than us, and I don't think we've got many better hands than the one we have now. I think we get value from like king queen, tens, jacks, kings. So I definitely think it's gonna be a good value bet spot. In terms of sizing, I think something like this is what I'd do with my bluffs, because like I mean it's just so hard for him to be ahead here. I would definitely make this sizing with my bluffs because I have a range advantage at this point by the time we get to the river, and so I don't need to bet as big given bluffs versus value hands I can have. Um, I can't have that many. I can't have that many bluffs. So the more value hands I have, probably the smaller I need to make the bet if I was going to bluff. Um, and I don't need to turn it into like an overbet or anything because it's pretty hard for me to. I mean, I'm at the, like the bottom of my betting range at that point, so I don't necessarily want to do that at the bottom of my betting range. But even if I did, it wouldn't make much sense, just given um, he's not going to really be able to ever call, and we want to because we have so many more better hands than him at that point. We're going to want to make it smaller to put his weaker holdings into a tough spot. Given that we're giving him reasonable pot odds, and against our range, he's going to need reasonable pot odds to call because it's pretty strong at that point. So yeah, I'm not sure this is going particularly well, this conversation thing, but yeah, I'm glad I won that hand. That was pretty nice. So we're playing on ACR, obviously. Use Bitcoin to get money on ACR. It's a fine website. I like it much better than Bovada in my opinion because the users are not anonymous. Easier to track what's going on and who you're playing against. I think especially in the heads-up matches, it's definitely pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, ACR is pretty sweet. So these stats I have, I'm sorry, they might be like pretty heavy, but I can walk through them. They're interesting, I think. Um, on the top level, I have all of the pre-flop stats. So VPIP, PFR, calling from just a 2-bet. This can just be like a limp or that's actually, let me just 1-bet. This is like calling from the blinds. Like how often do they call from the blinds? 3-betting and then calling 3-betting. Useful stats to know like if someone's 3-betting you, how often are they like actually just super aggressive, or are they just are they just a type player who's 3-betting their top range hands and you shouldn't be 4-bet battling back too often. The middle level is kind of like flop stuff, c-betting, call c-betting. I don't really look at all these stats very often, to be honest, but I just put them on there in case they're interesting. Check raising, flops, things like that. And then the bottom is the turn and river action. So just like, do they call? How often are they like overfolding turns after calling flops? Are they overfolding rivers after calling turns? Honestly, the things to look at the most are probably these top level stats. And by the time I get to the river, I'm mostly just thinking, my range, their pre-flop equity, or their equity, my equity, things like that. Hoping my computer can survive doing like 2 things at once. Queen 8 suited, I think it's close. I'm going to open because I like to open. But honestly, with my VPIP, I should probably just fold. I'm playing too many hands. And there's no reason to play Queen 8 suited, UTG +1. You can look at the 3-bet stats here and figure out if you want to open up like a little bit. I would say these numbers are pretty hefty. There's no, I mean, we don't have any stats on this guy, but like 16, 9, and 33. I guess because this guy's in the big blind, he's probably not going to be 3-betting us that much. Okay, I'm going to check this flop. We'd be c-betting with the top of our range here, like king 10, ace jack, ace queen. We'd be c-betting with all of our diamonds and maybe some of our 10s and low kings. It's kind of in the middle, and I'm just going to check here. We can even, I mean, if we're going to c-bet for the top middle of our range, we can just bet like ace x or queen x with a diamond, or queen x with a straight draw. We don't have any really good equity. So yeah, he bets once. I'm going to call once, I think, for sure. he could have diamonds. We could have just under pairs like 5s and 6s and 4s that can fold. I think solid middle of our range call here, looking for low cards and non-diamonds. Well, we got a low card, but it was a diamond. So I'm not looking for a... Okay, interesting. Checks it back. Interesting. So we have one of the worst hands we can have here. We do block 8-9 for the straight. We don't block any real monster other cards. We don't block any diamonds. We don't block any straight other, like the king high spades. So I'm going to check and try to get the showdown. Hope that he had a jack or a weaker queen. But it's hard to imagine. Maybe he just has like 5s or 4s. Jack 10. Okay. Fair enough. I bet would not have won. So, I mean, his hand makes some sense to c-bet on that flop, in the sense that you have the 10 for backup, but I honestly don't think you're ever going to get called by worse there. In fact, if you get check raised a decent amount by diamonds, Jack 10 just ends up getting thrown away more than it should. And so, against tough players, I would not bet Jack 10 there. It's just too easy to get exploited, and you have enough equity that you want to get to showdown. You can bet better hands that are either worse, like just lone kings or lone 10s that you're comfortable throwing away that don't have any pairs. It's kind of fold. Min raise, queen high. I'll call. I don't think you're supposed to ever fold these spots. I don't think you can ever fold, maybe. Queen high is pretty strong. Okay, so we flop literally nothing. We've got queen high. He can have almost anything. I would at this point decide, like, yeah, I'm just going to fold this here. There's just no playability, and there's no reason to go to war with this kind of hand. Yeah, I would not c-bet Jack 10 there. I like his turn play, and he did not bet the river. So that's interesting. We can an argument for him for betting the river. Obviously, he can have much better hands, but yeah, maybe Jack 10's a check there, if depending on how aggressive I've been, which is pretty aggressive. Not a lot of check raises. Okay, we're going to 3-bet 9s. Obviously, I like 3-betting pretty big in the small blind against button opens, just because they're going to get a great... Usually, if they get a great price in position, it's really profitable for them to call. Obviously, 9 is one of our better hands here, so definitely going to 3-bet. The question is how much? 275, I think, feels good a little bit between 3 and 4x. We've been battling this guy. He had 9s last time we got in. This is the guy we got in with 9s versus kings and stacked him. Jared Knight. Okay, VPIP, PFR, pretty active. Not a ton of data. Honestly, you can argument for just calling the 9s here, just to not get battle back. But it's obviously like a perfectly fine 3-bet. 6-7 off. Not going to be playing this hand unless it gets folded to me, in which case I'll open it. Okay. Obviously, like 6-7 off, not a particularly good hand to do anything with but fold. You don't block any of his good hands. You are almost not. You're very unlikely to win if you just call, which is a mistake a lot of weak players make. Even with 6-7 suited, 6-7 suited you can definitely call profitably, but 6-7 off, I mean, against an under the gun raiser who has stronger holdings than you and just going to barrel you on so many different flops and turns and rivers. Like, there's no reason to play those kinds of hands, which I'm sure most people know, but I'm just reiterating. 8-10 off, yeah, it's just a garbage hand, throw it away from the under the gun opener. We're now going to go through and rate the names of these players. Mad Max 101, solid name. Sid Gucci. Alright, I give that like... So Mad Max 101 is like out of 5, I give 4. Sid Gucci is a 3. Crystal, it's pretty dumb. It's 2. Jared Knight, it's probably just his name. The name's okay. So it's 3. Psychodrama 07, that's a good name. Yeah, give that a 4 as well. My name comes from my chess handle. I play on chess.com. Used to play in free chess, so I played under this handle, so now I'm using it for poker. Not many other good reasons. You can pay attention to how the other action goes down at the table. Obviously, is good. Usually, a multi-table. I'm a fan of like somewhere between 2 and 4 tables. You can play more, but I feel like at more, I'm really not paying. I'm not trying to like improve my game. I'm just or thinking about the game. I'm just implementing the strategy I'm already comfortable with, which is fine. But I'm not trying to make money at this. I'm just trying to learn. So I usually don't do more than 4 tables. Let me take a look at the lobby. See what else is happening here. I always find it interesting to see what's happening at the high stakes here. It's a 5-10 game running. At least a while ago, yeah, they've got a 50-100 heads up game. Doesn't run really. Twin 10-20 short stack. King 6 off. I'm not super happy about defending this end. Played so bad. Post hop. I was gonna say like I definitely defend in button or greater open. I don't think I'm gonna defend a cutoff open. Oh, makes it easy. This is a hijack, sorry. Or it's a cutoff. I always forget. Hey, same exact hand. Is that literally the same hand? Inverted. So he just 3-bet. Interesting. I mean, he's got a pretty high 3-bet VPIP stat ratio. I mean, you could say we do too, but we're probably better than this guy, so not an excuse, but I like playing hands. That's definitely not an excuse. You should not listen to that advice. So how this action go? He went 3-bet on the flop. It went check check, and then bet on the turn, bet on the river. You can see down here. Check check on the flop. Leads the original opener leads the turn. Wow. Okay, and just jams on the river. So check check on the flop. I'm interested. Jack 10 maybe. 9-10. Could be 9-10. Calls river. Calls turn. Bets river. Okay. Yeah, wasn't paying attention. Queen 7 suited is probably also a fold. It's similar. I mean, it's obviously very similar to the Queen 8, which is like if you get 3-bet a lot, this hand just turn becomes complete garbage. And it doesn't flop particularly well. At least the queen 8 could flop 9, 10, jack, which is like a lot better. Okay, it's a clear c-bet. Obviously we have more ace-x in this guy, and we have the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. I'm gonna bet small here. I think this is a good point I want to make. These boards we're crushing. These are our boards. We have all the ace x, we have all of the better jack x, we have pocket jacks, ace jack. So there's no reason. Oh, I'm so tempted. Okay, I'm gonna do it. When you have that much range advantage, like the reason to bet big on that flop is just for the flush draw represent, or to, because there is a flush draw, you're going to want, if you had stronger hands, to get more money and more value from the flush draws. But other than that, like, because you're locking that, you have that board so crushed with your range, and pre-flop equities or post-flop equities run very divergent in Hold'em. Gonna see bet here, same thing. Literally the same exact thing. Pre-flop equities run so differently from in comparison to other people's holdings in Hold'em. They're just so far behind you if you are going to end up betting there, that they're gonna have to fold so often, even with like pocket fives, pocket fours. Okay, it's not our c-bet spot. We picked up the best card we can, besides a 7 being unfortunate. I'm gonna bet bigger here, because we would with an ace. Now there's a flush draw. Yeah, so I think the point I'm trying to make there is that if you ran my equity, the range equity of my range versus the equity of their range, I would be very, very far ahead. And so for betting, we only need to give them pot odds that match that equity. And because I'm so far ahead, we can bet much, much smaller. So we want to bet much, much smaller, so that they're indifferent between calling and folding, giving my pot odds and the amount that I'm betting. We can bluff here. Don't need to. Against an aggressive person who check raises a lot, I don't like it. We don't block 3-6 is the only straight we block. I'm just gonna, honestly, I think we can check call. Just given that he would be c-betting pretty often with like over pairs and like stronger hands here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna check this one down. I'm gonna think a little bit here, just so that it's not super easy for him to just bet here. Make it look like I'm thinking of value betting, like maybe a 7 or something like that, or chopping to the 4. 3 should win this, and they do. Nine four off. I mean, you should never auto fold, but you know, we're not gonna play 9-4 off. Also, got to get this VPIP down. It's like way too high. It's a problem. Probably a hand that is not gonna get the VPIP down. If we get an under the gun, we get an opener, and under the gun +1. I think this is a fold. You can debate 3-betting. Obviously, you can't call. It plays too badly. Reverse implied odds, which. Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna fold. My computer is super out of space.